Hola de nuevo espectadores, solo diré que habrá otro de battle, pero en esta ocasión será la de Izuku Midoriya vs asta de los toros negro buenos y más relleno. Que comience este desmadre. Jason estaba flotador pero dormido con su teléfono infinito hasta que esté solo una alarma junto a sí. Dark. No quiero ir a la escuela, es aburrida y me matar el cerebro. Teléfono infinito. Despierta señor, acordarte que hoy toca otra reacción y será una de battle. Dark. Cállate infinito o lo que sea, quiero dormir más. Teléfono infinito. Señor, si no se despierta tendré ponete unas inyecciones. O mejor dicho, una inyección. Dark. No. ¿Cuál quien tortura menos a odio las inyecciones? Este se levanta como alma que salió de su cuerpo y ver que todos los está viendo. Dark. ¿Por qué está todos aquí si ni siquiera aplaudí? Teléfono infinito. Me tomé la molestia en hacerlo yo, ya que ser que eres muy flojo, eso hizo que los presentes se rieran por lo bajo mientras que otro no. Dark. TSK bien, oigan. Eso llamó la atención de todos. Jinwoo. Ahora que veremos, lo decía con una ceja asada y con los brazos cruzados. Dark. Otra batalla a muerte, en pocas palabras una de battle, eso emociona a algunos. Chica Fujiwara. Disculpe señor Dark, pero ¿cuál bar a pelear esta? Lo decía en pose pensativa. Dark. Jeje, eso es una sorpresa, así que agarra un control remoto y presionar el botón. Todos vieron que la pantalla se enciende y reproduce esto.
To prove his quirkless heroic mettle against this giant sludge monster, much to the surprise of one particular almighty onlooker.
His body secretly decaying from a horrific injury, All Might needed to find the one who would inherit his all-powerful quirk.
And All Might didn't want just anybody. The hero world was filled with glory seekers in it for fame and money. All Might wanted someone whose body moved on its own to save someone.
He saw exactly that in young Midoriya, and gave him one of the most powerful quirks in the world, One for All.
That was the problem. Even after bulking up from lad to Chad, the recoil from even one punch would shatter all the bones in his arm. So he trained to be able to handle his gift at the superhero school of his dreams, UA High.
And that's when he decided to own the name used as a cudgel against him for so many years. Turns out, Deku can also be an abbreviation for Dekiru, someone who can do anything.
Exactly the opposite of Dekunobu. One for All allows Deku to release absolutely absurd amounts of strength from different parts of his body, with super moves named after US cities and states.
Deku still can't access all of his power safely though. Using 100% will quickly destroy his body, which is why he learned to distribute his strength evenly across his body, a technique known as full cowling. This lets him increase his speed and durability as well, making him more all-rounded, and shifting focus to his own interpretation of One for All inspired by his pal Ida, shoot style.
Where he pulls out a Glock and blows your brains out! Okay, not really, but in keeping with One for All's rabbit theme, he trades All Might's signature punches for kicks. My version's better. You ever seen Rabbit vs. Gun? I have, and I know how it plays out.
Considering the much higher muscle mass of a human's legs, shoot style allowed Deku to output even more power while giving his arms a break. A break from a break.
And despite being a classic melee build, Deku can fight at range by punching powerful gusts of air and even precisely aim them with specially designed gloves.
Deku has an encyclopedic knowledge of quirks and is always analyzing their strengths and weaknesses mid-battle, even if he does sound a little weird.
Despite only barely getting accepted in the first place, Deku quickly became one of Class 1A's most dependable fighters. Because, yeah, somehow these students are constantly getting drafted into literal wars against murderous supervillains.
Midoriya's successes in battle against ruthless criminals like Stain, Muscular, and Overhaul came much to his old bully's chagrin. Where Bakugo was a child prodigy, he now found himself overshadowed by his hard-working rival, and the two would use their mutual respect and animosity to motivate each other to get stronger.
Classic frenemies. They're only solving their problems by pounding the living tar out of each other.
Luckily for him, Deku soon learned that living tar pounding wasn't the only thing he could do. Turns out, One for All did not originate with All Might. It had been passed down 8 times until it arrived at Deku, with each inheritance also carrying the previous user's natural quirk as well.
Like Black Whip, which lets him manifest crazy long and strong energy tendrils to tie enemies up and swing around the city, or shoot one out of his mouth, just like our girl Fruppy.
And Danger Sense, which gives him a minor reactive precognition.
AKA, he's Spider-Man. Not even a reach, the mangaka is like the biggest Spidey fan ever.
He can also produce a smoke screen to mask his presence, float in midair, or store kinetic energy over time with batlle.
Like that. By storing up enough, he can even match All Might's max power, without any recoil to boot. Strong enough to change the weather and create city block-sized tornadoes with a single punch.
And he's even stronger with his newest quirk, Gear Shift, which allows him to increase the speed of an object anytime he touches it. In conjunction with the power of All for One, he can use this to warp reality itself. Deku can go toe-to-toe with arch-villains like Shigaraki, who's fast enough to react to and catch laser beams with his bare hands.
But nothing could prepare him for All Might's archenemy, the shadowy leader of the League of Villains, All for One.
All Might only ever showed his young pupil kindness and support, but that couldn't change the absolutely crushing pressure Deku felt at every moment.
Even classically trained dickhead Bakugo came to help his teammate out when he needed it, like when they teamed up to share One for All and punch an island-sized hole in the clouds 24 miles high.
Just goes to show that even One for All isn't a one-man army. Deku's true strength comes from his teamwork between himself and his friends.
And with their help, Deku will surely become that beacon of hope he dreamt about as a child.
One hero for all mankind. This episode is sponsored by Mint Mobile.
This holiday season, the best deal in wireless can only be found at Mint Mobile.
Right now, when you switch to Mint Mobile and buy any 3-month plan, you'll get another 3 months for free.
As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order and activate from home with eSIM, while saving tons on phone plans starting at just $15 a month. We all know the holidays can be a huge money sink. In my case, my anti-squirrel lawn laser system won't insure itself, so Mint Mobile's buy 3 months, get 3 months free plan is perfect to cut down costs.
Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and switch easily and effortlessly with eSIM.
Or if you need a new device for a limited time, get 6 months for free service when you buy a select device and plan.
Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month.
For a limited time, buy any 3-month Mint Mobile plan and get 3 more months free by going to mintmobile.com/deathbattle. That's mintmobile.com/deathbattle.
Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/deathbattle.
Fuera de la pantalla todos estaba atento a quien iba a aparecer y se sorprendieron que era el chico peli verde que Darkles dijo Uraraka. Así que Deku va a pelea a muerte, esta la decía con nervios Dark. Porque sí lo decía con simpleza, pero todos se sorprendieron cuál es la metal de ese chico, es el héroe número 1 de esa dimensión Afon. No sé por qué, pero esta pelea me va a agradar, lo decía con una sonrisa siniestra Shinoa de Owari no Serap. Vaya, ese chico se rompió los huesos con su poder, lo decía asombrada por el poder del chico Darkmente. Sí sé el héroe número 1, pero como profesor número 1 lo decía mentalmente con un tic en el ojo que nadie notó, Mika de Owari no Serap. Y parece que ese tal símbolo de la paz le dio su poder para que luchara con eso villano, lo decía el rubio decepcionado de esa dimensión. Los héroes profesionales solo agachando la cabeza por la mirada que algunos le está dando Thanos de las películas. Sus habilidades son un poco fuerte, pero parece que evolucionar en tecnología o máquina muy avanzada, lo decía con una sonrisa macabra, ya que esa dimensión se puede conquistar con tanta facilidad Thanos de los cómics. Aunque el chico tiene agallas para enfrentarse a todo, seguro que nunca se enfrentó a alguien de su nivel o más, lo decía también con la misma sonrisa que su otro yo Sonic de Sonic Boom. Vaya velocidad, aunque seguro que es velocidad de sonido. Me preguntó si puede ir más allá, lo decía con una mano en la barbilla Kureto Iragi de Owari no Serap. El chico tiene agallas, eso no lo admito, pero tendrá para matar a su oponente. Eso dejó callado toda la sala, ya que él tiene razón, pero vieron que la pantalla cambia y se muestra esto adentro de la pantalla.
Magic! You know it, you love it, and in the world of Black Clover, it doesn't come from a box you bought at a tacky West Hollywood costume shop. Everyone's got it.
Mana is the source of all magic, a supernatural energy found in the air and in living beings. Except living beings whose names are Asta.
Not only was the young Asta an orphan abandoned by his mother at a church as a baby, he was born with a mutation that prevents him from having any mana to speak of. Well, neither do I, and you don't hear me crying about it.
Yes, you do, all of the time. But Asta had a dream. Despite his lack of magic, he and his best friend Yuno promised each other one of them would rise to the throne of the greatest military position in the land, the Wizard King. Wizard King? Really, guys? Sometimes they call it Magic Emperor, but we all know what they mean.
So he dedicated himself to getting swole as all hell in a world of nerds. He would be its lone jock god, shoving every last wizard into a locker until they crowned him king.
But huge, frightening pectorals on a tiny, screaming goblin child weren't enough on its own. He needed something powerful enough to shut down his opponent's magic.
He needed the 5-leaf clover grimoire.
Essentially a book of spells, a grimoire will choose its user and float beside their wielder at all times.
And Asta was lucky enough to receive the reverse card of grimoires. The 5-leaf clover can harness the power of anti-magic, which will literally nullify the effects of other magic spells, almost like wizard kryptonite. Let the locker stuffing commence! Haha, get nerds!
It wasn't long before Asta was accepted into one of the 9 squads of Clover Kingdom's Magic Knights, the Black Bulls, filled with lazy drunkards, antisocial otakus, and literal sociopaths.
My kind of people! Mostly. But much like with Asta, you shouldn't judge a grimoire by its cover. And soon they were all working together and kicking ass like a family should.
Asta harnesses the power of anti-magic by summoning swords imbued with it from the grimoire. Normally, these swords would quickly drain the mana from anyone foolish enough to wield them, but Asta does not have any mana, turning his greatest weakness into a one-of-a-kind strength.
He's got his classic Demon Slayer, an enormous greatsword which cuts through spells with its edge and deflects them with its flat. Or the Demon Dweller, which can also absorb and copy magic, then toss it right back to sender.
I think my personal favorite is the more complex Demon Destroyer, which severs the relationship between a spell's cause and effect, countering the effects of its magic. This could result in anything from healing a village that was inflicted with poison to preventing reincarnation.
Yeah, okay, some of these can get a little heady. I personally prefer keeping it simple, like using anti-magic telekinesis to surf on your sword through the sky.
It's worth noting that these swords are made specifically for countering magical attacks and sources of mana. The swords will act as though blunted when striking non-magical foes, more akin to giant clubs than actual blades. Not entirely inconsistent with real-life greatswords.
But none of that's even close to as cool as his deadliest sword, the Demon Slasher, a katana as black as the pits of hell and twice as badass.
This one actually does cut like a sword, but it's complicated. It lets Asta actually select what he does and does not want to cut, only affecting his target while leaving anything else unharmed.
Okay, at this point, isn't that just magic?
Magic with a loophole.
And he's studied the blade long enough to become a master swordsman to boot. Not in the real-life sense, in the anime sense.
He can spin himself like a tornado to deflect magic spells, thrust forward at top speed like a charging bull, launch a barrage of anti-magic projectiles, and even channel anti-magic into his swords to vastly increase their size.
Well, while he may be no good with mana, he has learned to detect ki. Because, of course,
the life force existing in all things, Asta can detect hidden opponents and even predict their movements ahead of time, as long as he's fast enough to react.
With such crazy powers, Asta was taking on threats like the Eye of the Midnight Sun, the Devil Zagrid, and the Dark Triad. So many nerds, never enough lockers. Too bad for Asta, though. He had one serious inner demon.
Literally, housed within the 5-leaf clover grimoire was Liba, a demon exiled from hell for completely lacking magical powers, and who just so happened to get adopted by Asta's mother.
Until he got possessed by a different demon and killed her. Vowing vengeance on all demonkind, Liba manifested anti-magic from his hatred as a way to kick their asses, which gave him and Asta a lot of common ground, despite the whole, mom murder thing.
In fact, the two became true brothers and formed an unstoppable duo. Liba can actually fully merge with Asta for a massive power boost that lasts up to 5 minutes, at the cost of leaving Asta nearly powerless for the next half hour.
Come on, I want it. Yeah, I'll take it if I get to be strong enough to slice buildings to pieces, obliterate huge chunks of earth, and tear the most powerful demons apart. Give me the goddamn book.
I'm the book boy, okay? Even characters earlier in the series like Patoli had magic capable of completely vaporizing the entire Clover Kingdom in a single attack. And demons that Asta has fought since then like Dante and Lucifero are leagues stronger.
Hell, screw all these demon forms and anti-magic powers. Asta's body is so incredibly well trained, he dodged a beam of light while sleeping. As in, he was asleep, and the force of his sneeze pushed his head out of the way of a beam of light. Light speed sneezes, everyone!
And despite his headstrong and irritating personality,
AKA screaming at the top of his lungs as often as possible.
Asta is an intelligent fighter who has leveraged his skill against far more experienced foes.
But he wouldn't be anywhere without the ragtag band of deviants he calls friends. With them at his side, there's no way he won't climb the ranks to take the Wizard King's throne, especially with Yuno pushing them both to get stronger.
Unlike other classic shonen rivalries, this one isn't tainted by antagonism. They truly want what's best for each other, even if they're competing for the same throne.
Yuno's gonna need all the luck he can get, cause even if Asta never gets mana of his own, his true magic is never given up.
Fuera de la pantalla todos estaban asombrados por las hazañas de Asta. Los de Black Clover se asombrado quien apareció en la batalla. Nota de autor. Para que no se confunda mucho, los que traje de Black Clover fueron cuando derrotarlo a Lucífero Asta. ¡Qué genial! Aparezco Yuno. Puede no ser tan grito, lo decía tapándose los oídos por el fuerte grito que de su amigo / rival. Nota de autor. Y casi se me olvida la tríada oscura, también los traje junto a su diablo, a ese demonio, antes que comience el arco de Lucius. Fin de la nota. Shinya de Owari no será demonio. Será como los de Jinete de Apocalipsis, pero cuando vieron el demonio de Asta algunos se le quitó el color, mientras que otro, que son serios, se interesaron por este demonio, pero a escuchar la historia de Asta se ha asombrado Julián de Black Clover. Jeje, ojalá que ese día pase, lo decía con una sonrisa Asta / Yuno. El quien va a hacer el rey mago seré yo, lo decía los dos a mismo tiempo. Los magos no sintieron nada de magia de Asta, eso lo extraño, pero la pantalla y los que estaban narrador se sorprendieron que no tenga magia. Merlin de Nanatsu no Taizai. Oye chico, ¿cómo puede ser el rey mago si no tiene poder mágico? Lo decía con una mano en su barbilla. Los demás también estaban también de acuerdo con las palabras de la maga Dark. Qué estúpida, lo decía aburrido. Eso llamó la atención de todo y vieron que la pantalla se detuvo. Dark. Le diré algo, los que está en la sala no tiene poder mágico / poderes, pero tiene algo que ustedes no tiene. Bakugou. Ja, solo son simples extra, lo decía con arrogancia en su voz Dark. Me gusta siempre que sea tan estúpido y arrogante, eso lo enojo, y no fue el único, también alguno y otros se sintieron ofendidos. Dark. Primero, cada uno de estas salas son humanos con inteligencia increíble que puede hacer máquinas increíble, y otro con puro esfuerzo y entrenamiento puede hacerse invencible. Este ver de reojo a Saitama, y otro con pura fuerza de voluntad. Eso también es increíble, sino también alguien que jamás se rinda, jamás, ni aunque tu cuerpo se destroce. Eso dejó callado a todos, pero todos vieron que la pantalla volvió a reproducir lo mismo, y vieron con sorpresa que hasta obtuvo una especie de grimorio. Pero cuando estaba a punto que todos diga que hacer eso lo que tiene magia, se aterraron un poco a saber que ese chico tiene el poder de la antimagia Kiju Rengoku. Disculpe señor Dark, pero ¿qué es esa cosa llama antimagia? Dark. Bueno, solo diré que la antimaga es una energía única que es capaz de anular otros tipos de magia. Manda. Proviene de un demonio conectado al grimorio de Asta. Eso sorprendió mucho a todos, pero no dijeron nada y vieron la pelea de Asta y Luciferón. Eso sorprendió mucho a todos, pero aquellos que es capaz de sentir tanto la energía como el poder o la magia se aterraron un poco, ya que esa criatura / ser o demonio posee una magia increíble y una presencia muy aterradora. Pero vieron que la pantalla cambia y se muestra esto adentro de la pantalla.
Alright, the combatants are set and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
Give it up for our 26th World Martial
Sword that big? He's gotta be crazy strong. I'm gonna have to rely on more than just my power to take him down.
Deku! And the Black Bull Magic Knight, Asta!
Just gotta hit him really hard.
Begin!
Man, this guy can give even Luck a run for his money.
Heart supposed to be sharp? His speed isn't slowed by his sword's weight at all. Gotta hamper his movements and get that book out of his hands. Huh? He found me! Now it's my turn!
Wait! Are you not using magic? What kind of magic emperor would I be if I can't beat a guy like this? Detroit Smash! Huh? Detroit Smash! Detroit Smash! I don't know what Detroit is, but I've had enough of it. I'm ending this quick! Hit me with all you've got, because I'm never going down!
No use not going all out anymore. I just gotta hit him really hard! You wanted my best? Here it is! 1,000,000%! Plus Ultra! I did it!
Detroit.
For our final round, as Asta takes on last year's reigning champion, Mr. Satan!
KO! Poor Deku. He tried his best, but Asta just shoved him into that great big locker in the sky.
Both Deku and Asta were fairly evenly matched melee fighters without any specific abilities to give one an easy edge over the other. Though, to be fair, the variety of quirks Deku inherited from past users of One for All did make him more versatile and unpredictable.
Plus, quirks are biological mutations, not connected to some supernatural energy source like mana, so Asta's anti-magic powers were basically useless here.
And Deku was generally a smarter and more tactical fighter, but against Asta's incredible might, this time brawn beat brains.
Let's crunch some numbers! Deku's greatest feat of strength was splitting that enormous cloud formation with Bakugo.
By measuring the size of the island and comparing it to the clouds above, we can determine they dispersed over 63 trillion kilograms of water.
That's the weight of the Great Pyramid of Giza. 12,000 of them!
And required an energy of nearly 80 teratons of TNT per punch.
Let's compare that to Asta. Patoli's spell was going to be strong enough to vaporize a country the size of the Clover Kingdom.
We can use this map from the manga to estimate the size of Clover Kingdom to be about 500 kilometers in diameter, about half the length of Great Britain. Vaporizing a country of that size would require an energy of over 480 teratons of TNT, over 6 times greater than Deku's punch.
While Asta uses anti-magic, it isn't an automatic counter. It needs to be comparable in strength to the spell it's combating. And Asta's gotten way stronger since.
Asta was also quicker. Sure, scaling to Shigaraki would give Deku roughly light speed reaction time.
But Asta could dodge light in his sleep, and that's his base form. even before transforming with Liba to get way faster.
And since Deku and Asta's precognitive abilities more or less matched each other, it was only a matter of time before Asta simply overwhelmed him.
Especially since Deku has struggled in the past against faster opponents. Sure, Deku was smarter, but if he literally didn't have enough time to come up with a plan of attack before getting hammered, his brains were wasted.
Deku's tactical brilliance and harem-scarum tenacity definitely gave his opponent a run for his money, but Asta's raw power, blinding speed, and deadlier weaponry spelled the end for All Might's pupil.
Deku gave it his all, and I wish he had won. Hasta la vista.
The winner is Asta.
Fuera de la pantalla todos estaba ahora muy concentrado en la pelear y algunos quedaron con cara de palo que ese mocoso se puso a murmurar eso dejo a la clase 1, con vergüenza pero vieron a Asta con un mini demonio y con su espada antimagia eso sí lo sorprendió y mucho a caza. Espero que esta pelear valga la pena lo decía con los brazos cruzados Obanai. Vaya velocidad lo decía asombrado a ver la velocidad de Izuku Lucífero. Ojalá que se muera esa maldita mocoso, pero no pudo terminar a ver que Izuku usado su velocidad golpea a Asta en todos lados eso preocupó a los amigos y compañeros de Asta pero se ha asombrado que no se inmuta a sus golpes y usando sus espadas golpea a Izuku en todos lados haciendo que se estrelle en una pared toga. Qué increíble pelear ojalá que eso dos sangre ruice. Si ojalá que sangre eso 2 barra de verdad necesita ir a psicólogo Toga, Chan lo decía con su doble personalidad Gaby. Vaya ese enano con músculo no pelea mal Asta. ¿A quién llamas enano? Lo decía en una esquina muy lejos Gaby. ¿Cómo es que me escucho desde AMR Compres? No sé pero eso sí dio un poco de escalofrío los demás no dinero, nada y vieron la pantalla por sorpresa Android número 17 de Dragon Ball Super. Esquivo ese golpe espadazo usando su velocidad número 18. Así si no lo hubiera hecho esta pelea ya hubiera terminado Inuyasha. Esquivo el espadazo pero ese chico peli verde usó una especie de humo para secar a su enemigo nada mal se Shimaru verá hasta por unos segundos y volvió de nuevo dirigió su vista hacia la pantalla escano. Destruyó el humo solo con da huerta eso hizo que todos menos yo tuviera los ojos en blanco Kusuo Saiki. Me preguntó qué son esa cosa negra que capturó a ese chico lo decía en una mano en su barbilla pero todos vieron con una mueca que ese peli verde está usando eso látigo como un soporte para golpear hasta una tras otra pero vieron con asombro que se liberó usando su espada y el libro que tenía en la boca de ese chico se dirigió hacia su portando a Izawa. Ojalá que mi alumno. Pero no pudo terminar ya que vio que ese edificio se destruyó para luego ver a Asta en su forma demoníaca a 100% a caza. Vaya ahora sí se puso bueno. Pero vieron que Izuku usando su poder levantó un edificio para dirigido hacia Asta Noelle. Bakasta no. Asta. Oye si yo estoy aquí ademán y otro yo puede con ese chico seguro que también no se rinde Camus de Acuario. Vaya eso sí es un choque de puño con antimagia pero mejor dicho con pura fuerza bruta van y cazó gratis. No es justo eso dos está peleando increíble y yo solo estoy viéndolo decía desanimada Gante Zogratis. Vaya pelea y humillación, Camilla Speed Family. Vaya impact, pero no pudo terminar ya que vio que ese chico peli verde usó todo su poder igual que Asta y este mismo chocado puño barra espada y una onda de impacto como polvo se hizo presente Thanos de los cómics. Debo admitir que ese chico no pelear nada mal pero vieron que Izuku está arriba con un brazo morado y hasta abajo pero a punto de hablar o preocuparse los de universo de My Hero Academia menos los otros vieron con horror que Izuku fue atravesado por 3 espadas en su espalda y vieron que la pantalla dice que ganó hasta nadie decía nada Dark se pone unos audífonos Dark. 3 2 1 todos. Sí y a caza. Jajajaja vaya pelea eso fue increíble de aquí. Nada mal Kokusibo solo vio con respecto a Asta mientras que los villanos bueno algunos vieron la pantalla con emoción otro aburrido y las deidades estuvieron asombrado por esa batalla pero vieron que la pantalla se apagó Dark. Bueno ya se puede retirar dijo de su piche madre todos la tuya por si acaso así Dark aplauden y todos ya son teleportado en su habitación fin de capítulo y dígame qué les pareció.